The Maasai people and the Tanzanians have a major ecological footprint on the Serengeti because of their culture and the way they live their lives. There are many things to take into account when comparing these pastoral people. The population and the number of children have an effect on the footprint because of the natural resources they use. Also, it is important to look at the number of children and the ability for them to reproduce. By looking at the lifestyles and average days of these people, we are able to see how often resources are used and how much impact is made over a certain amount of time. We should also take a look at the natural resources used by these people and how much of them they use on a daily basis. By studying these people's average income and how they earn a living, we see how much they depend on the environment and how much they really need it. After taking all these things into account, we can see the major impacts these people make on the environment and the damage that they cause, the waste they generate, and the true footprint of these individuals.
The Maasai people live in the semi-arid Rift Valley region of Kenya and Tanzania. They own large herds of cattle, sheep, and goats, which they lead around seasonally in search of new grazing grounds and water sources. Traditionally, the Maasai have always been a proud people and an independent tribe. They did not cultivate the land and depend on a cash economy as many of those around them did. Rather, they lived off the blood, milk, and meat their cattle provided them. Cattle play a central role in the life of the Maasai. The cattle represent food and power, and the more cattle a Maasai person owns, the wealthier he is, and therefore, the more power and influence he holds within his tribe. The Maasai for a long time were a nomadic group of people, but recently they have been forced to adapt to a more inactive lifestyle, which sometimes includes growing and buying cultivated food. The Maasai have always looked down on tilling the land and because they believed it ruined them for grazing purposes. Since the cattle are the most important aspect of the Maasai people, they require large amounts of grazing land that they cannot bear to lose. The Maasai have been forced into an ever-decreasing land areas. A day in the life of the Maasai man is to be first and foremost a warrior. They will protect their village at all costs. According to GoAfrica.com, the Maasai women are responsible for all domestic tasks, which include making their homes. Houses are made from mud, sticks, grass, cow dung, and urine. The women also milk the cows, collect water, a heavy and arduous task, cook, and look after the children. The Maasai women are as impressive as the men in their looks. For rural and urban Tanzanians, the urban services are still in a very poor state. There has been a rapid deterioration of the existing infrastructure and extensive erosion of the levels of services available to the rapidly increasing urban population. In the water sector, this is being accomplished through establishment of urban water and sanitation boards. At least 6 such boards are now operational. The government has reoriented policy reforms towards increased allocation of resources to the social sector. Basic social services including primary education, primary health care, nutrition, and rural water supply will benefit from this move. The government has also introduced cost-sharing measures as a way of ensuring full participation by beneficiaries in sustainable provisions of the services. High priorities are accorded to the supply of water and sanitation services to rural and urban areas. However, success in human settlement sector is hampered by high investment, operational, and maintenance costs.
The Maasai's people diet mainly depends on the cow. They use the cow's blood, milk, and meat. They drink the blood either raw or mix it with milk. They also can mix it with oil in order to loosely solidify it. They also drink the cattle's milk. They either drink it raw or fermentate it in the ground for around 3 days and consume it in that way. They finally eat the meat of the cattle. They save the meat for special ceremonies and gatherings. They traditionally do not eat vegetables. They use wild plants for their medicine. There are essential medicines for their life, such as remedies for malaria, hemostatic laxative, and anaphylactic eye drop, abdominal pains, menstrual cramps, or delivering the placenta. They now use modern pharmaceutical products since a pharmacy was built recently. They make their houses, which are known as ijijik, out of mud, sticks, grass, cow dung, and cow urine. Livestock such as cattle, goats, and sheep are the Maasai primary source of income. They are traded for other livestock, cash, or products made from the livestock such as milk and sage. Cattle and children are the most important items to the Maasai people. Many Maasai groups depend on the community grazing structures. Some of their best grazing lands were rationalized to protect their wildlife. This has enclosed many pastoral and semi-agricultural groups onto other parcels of land that are not suitable for semi-nomadic pastoralism or just agriculture at a sustainable level. Tanzania is endowed with many significant natural resources. This long list includes tin, phosphates, iron ore, coal, diamonds, gemstones, gold, natural gas, nickel, and many more. The land is surrounded with forests and woodlands, wild animals, rivers, lakes, and wetlands. Every resource has a major role in the economy. If these resources are to be depleted, it will undermine the ecological sustainability of the economy and all its activities. Certain roles are played by the resources. Tanzanians depend on natural resources for both their present and future generations. They must remain stocked in order for civilizations to get by.
Pastoralism is a type of agriculture that concerns raising livestock. Instead of cultivating their land and depending on a cash-based economy, they live off the blood, milk, and meat of their livestock. In the Maasai tribe, cattle represent food and power. Therefore, if someone has a lot of cattle, they also have more power and influence over the tribe, making them richer. However, there are also some Maasai tribes that depend on gardens and fields when rainfall becomes a limiting factor. They also turn to fishing and hunting when the conditions are favorable. Rural Tanzania is considered a very poor, poverty-stricken area. Around 85% of the country's poor people live in rural areas. They have no electricity, no refrigerator, no television, no motor vehicle, no bank accounts, and live in houses with no concrete floors or concrete walls. The main source of income is farming, which doesn't offer a great amount of money. The poverty in rural Tanzania has caused a lot of migration towards urban Tanzania. According to the Tanzanian Growth Diagnostic, quote, farmers are paying in transport costs 2 and 4 times more in Tanzania than in Uganda and Kenya. The average income is about $14,134 per month. For urban Tanzanians, the average income per month is about $30,000 to $40,000. These people make their money by making home-produced items, self-employment, farming, and other jobs in the urban area. The predominant wages come from self-employment. Men earn about 1 times more what women earn. This is because the men are generally more educated than the women. The pastoral people, called the Maasai, make up a population of almost 1 million. There are 47.7 million Tanzanians. Of those Tanzanians, 33,003,140 are rural Tanzanians. The rural Tanzanians make up nearly 80% of Tanzania. In Tanzania, there is a 5.4 total fertility rate. 41 children are born per population of 1,000 every year. Out of 1,000 births, there are 51 infant deaths every year. 45% of the population is younger than 15, while only 3% of the population survives to be 65 or older. The livestock of pastoralists varies in species depending on climate and culture. To maintain a herd of cattle, one has to lead them to a source of water multiple times every couple of days, and depending on the condition of the animal, spend a mass amount of time there. This is a major impact on the environment because of the sources they use and the amount they use. Cattle are mostly grazers, but sometimes browse under the shrubs if grasses are in short supply. This impacts the environment because there is a need to provide ample grazing for the cattle to survive. Because tribes have had many different species that they use and need to take care of, there is maximum use of vegetation, which majorly impacts the environment in the Serengeti.
Many ecologists have said that large herds are environmentally detrimental. Since pastoralists strive for large herds, this could have a major impact on the environment in the Serengeti. However, keeping a large herd of adult animals is more ecologically beneficial than producing and selling young animals. As with many other ecosystems, disturbances may be healthy for the grasslands environments inhabited by pastoralists. Heavy foraging by herds acts as a disturbance that increases primary production. By keeping a large and mobile herd, pastoralists optimize their grasslands by creating disturbances that reset succession, then move on before any catastrophic damage is done.